In today's video, we're going to be talking about some big contract news for some superstars in WWE. Also, we're going to talk about WrestleMania weekend. New Japan and Impact Wrestling are back in a very big way. And yes, we are going to talk about this big announcement from AEW. I think a lot of good things can come from this. Guys, if you want more videos like this, click that subscribe button. The timestamps will be in the description down below. Let's kick things off with the Good Brothers. This was very interesting. So Sean Ross Sapp was on the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy podcast, and he was talking about how the Good Brothers have a unique clause in their WWE deals. And basically how it works is pretty simple. Unless they are booked to work a show, they are not permitted. They don't have to be at a WWE event. So unless they're booked, they're not being used. They're not flying out there. They don't have to deal with travel. This is why the Good Brothers weren't at the Royal Rumble. He says people were asking why the Good Brothers were not at the Royal Rumble or at Raw. In their new deals, they said if you're not going to use us, we don't want to be there. Just don't send us there. With all due respect, we will do our jobs, but we don't want to be there for not being used. And WWE essentially just said, okay. Now, this is actually very, very interesting that WWE allowed this type of clause, especially because in wrestling, anything could happen last minute scenario. But it does appear to me, and maybe there is something good that comes out of it, under the Triple H era, it doesn't seem like Triple H is making so many last minute changes on television, whereas Vince McMahon used to do that pretty much all the time. The script kept getting ripped up and then things were changing on the fly. Sometimes the show would start and they're still changing things on the script. So that is why this is a very interesting contract clause. But of course, the Good Brothers, WWE, they came back. Now we're not seeing them as much. It is definitely a question mark. Obviously, AJ Styles is hurt, so I'm assuming it has something to do with that. But I do like this. I'm going to admit, I think it's a good idea. If you're not going to be used, don't fly out there. Don't travel. Don't be away from your families, because at that point, it's very ridiculous. How these guys got it approved, I have no idea, but obviously WWE wanted them back and they were okay with it. So ultimately, it is some very good news. Guys, I want to talk about Impact and New Japan Pro Wrestling. This is huge. They are back with the Multiverse United, Only the Strong Will Survive event in Los Angeles. WrestleMania weekend is almost here, guys. I'm super excited about it. They used to do these little events before the pandemic, and now it's like we're finally back from this pandemic bullshit that happened, with wrestling. A lot of indies used to do indie events during WrestleMania weekend. Impact and New Japan did some cool events before the pandemic, and then of course, the pandemic hit, and then the travel guidelines, and there was just so much stuff that was happening. It made it very difficult for companies to do events like this, but now we are back. Guys, this is sick. Listen to this. So Impact Wrestling and the New Japan Pro Wrestling will co-produce a major live pro wrestling show on Thursday night, March 30th at the Globe Theater in Los Angeles. And the best part is they've already made some announcements. We got Speedball Mike Bailey versus Will Ospreay. We have Kushida versus Josh Alexander. And yes, we are getting Moose versus Jeff Cobb. And this is really exciting matchups for me personally as a wrestling fan, as somebody who enjoys New Japan and Impact Wrestling. I love when they come together. Years ago, we also saw Lucha Underground and Impact come together. So there's a lot of cool things that could come from events like this. And I think one of the big things is like WrestleMania weekend is huge. Don't get me wrong. I love WrestleMania. I think WrestleMania is great. I love when WWE has the Raw and SmackDown and NXT and, the Hall of Fame and all of these different things surrounding WrestleMania. It's great. I love it. But the thing is, if you're a fan of wrestling, and it doesn't matter what company you love, but if you're a fan of wrestling, WrestleMania weekend is a really good experience to go and witness other companies putting on great shows. And with New Japan and Impact coming together, I absolutely love it. Obviously, GCW has like 10 shows that are going to be happening over the weekend. A ton of companies will be doing some really good stuff during this weekend. And the cool thing is, they are doing certain matches that people have been asking for a while. Speedball Mike Bailey, I think this guy is going to wrestle like a million times on WrestleMania weekend. Obviously, that's an exaggeration, but he's going to wrestle a lot. And this match against Will Ospreay is definitely one that's going to get people talking. I am planning on going to WrestleMania. I would like to go to WrestleMania this year. I told myself the last year, obviously with 2021 and 2022, it was really difficult, rebounding from the pandemic and just trying to have travel plans and everything like that. But I do want to go to WrestleMania weekend. I want to create content out there. I want to watch wrestling shows. But these shows are definitely expensive, right? With how many wrestling shows, that's probably the one caveat to it. There's too many wrestling shows going on. And, you know, if you really want good seats for all of them, you're definitely going to pay a lot of money. But it is Los Angeles, New Japan Impact, definitely worth watching. Even if you can't make it to Los Angeles, I highly recommend people check this out. I am super excited about it. It's going to be on Fight TV starting at 8 p.m. So this is just some really cool stuff. I'm totally geeked about this. And I plan on being there, hopefully. Yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. I'm super excited about that. Guys, we got to talk about AEW. Amazon is all elite. This is not a joke. This is like some really cool stuff that AEW is doing. And I'm going to talk about it. But first, I want to show you guys my screen. This way you could have like a better idea of what I'm talking about. So basically, AEW has launched this really cool merchandise that is exclusive to Amazon.com. This is part of a major announcement in them selling merchandise that is exclusive to Amazon. Keep in mind, they normally do stuff with Pro Wrestling Tees. But I was taking a look, and guys, some of these designs are absolutely sick. So for example, you have the Young Bucks, and you have the Young Bucks Hypno Smile t-shirt. And look, they have multiple sizes for everybody that's available. And then of course, if you go back, I mean, you have the Hangman Page shirt. So again, like AEW is basically launching new merchandise with Amazon. This Kenny Omega shirt is really sick too. Like, they are doing something with Amazon that I think is really important for pro wrestling fans, because Amazon is shipping these typically based on your address. You know, you can get these shipped within like same day, realistically. Like, there's a lot of things that they can do here, okay? My point that I'm making is AEW has entered a very nice agreement to sell some merchandise exclusively on Amazon.com. And what that's really going to do is provide users with a great experience, because same day shipping, Amazon customer service, and on top of that, AEW could potentially be doing some content with Amazon. You never know. It starts with merchandise. Amazon is a content and data-driven company, so keep in mind they have Amazon Prime. They have, you know, Prime Video. Then they have the live streams that are on Amazon.com. Plus, they have Twitch. Keep in mind, last year I signed a deal with Amazon where I had my own show on Twitch, and that was a really cool thing. So the idea that AEW has entered this realm of things with AEW, with Amazon is awesome. I think it's a really good thing for AEW, and maybe this is the start of a better relationship with Amazon. Guys, if you are interested in buying some of this merchandise, I am going to put the link in the description. I do earn commission from these sales as part of an Amazon influencer, but literally I'm just putting the link in the description for you guys if you're interested in buying some AEW merchandise. They also have action figures and stuff like that too, which is really cool. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I do appreciate you all for watching today's video, and I'll see you next time.